Recording in progress.
Yes, team, good morning. So, yeah, interesting little title insight for today to share a success hack, or what I kind of looked into as success school, which is what I put into the message. So, as always, every video now I always start with this feeling, and you'll see how important it is as we come into this training. And you've heard me say it so many times, but starting the day from a feeling of gratitude, wealth, and abundance is the most important thing in the world. What we're going to come on to is, if you're feeling like you're lacking in any area of life, or a part of your life has scarcity, then you're going to operate from a scarcity mindset. And it's impossible to do that. We have to operate from abundance. We have to operate from a place of, we already have enough, so we can attract more. Not, we don't have enough, so we're reactively trying to get more. So that's a little insight into what's going to happen. So this system that I'm going to share today is going to supercharge all areas of your life. It's kind of what I've now journaled out as a number one success system. And it's not a new diet, and it's not a new training plan. It's very much based on that theory that I've said of practicing gratitude, of practicing abundance. So remember, like we've said so many times before, true wealth and happiness is nothing more than a feeling of abundance triggered by gratitude. So we must always start with, I am enough, I have enough, I am good enough, and that's where we operate from to attract more. Don't get that confused with, you need to settle and you can't want more. It's just the place you need to operate from to be able to attract more. Operate from abundance, attract. Okay? Operate from scarcity, repel. When you're operating from scarcity, you're chasing because you don't feel like you have enough, and everything you want runs away. When you operate from abundance because you already feel like you had enough, you attract everything you've ever wanted, because you become an attraction magnet. You see this in people's marketing. So this system is based on four things. One, human performance. Two, focus and belief. Three, the law of attraction, operating from a place of abundance. And four, a very different one, but the electromagnetic fields that can actually be measured on something called HeartMath, that flow from your heart. But we also need to understand, and why I never like the law of attraction to get misconstrued or misunderstood, is if you think that just watching this video and starting to feel grateful and starting to feel abundance, whilst it's the best possible place to start from, and that you can just manifest and that will lead to success, then you may as well switch this video off now. Because that's not how it works. We operate from a place of gratitude, a place of abundance, a place of having enough, and then we get to work on the plan. Now, one of the other upcoming trainings is going to be on, if we're in a career that we don't like, how we move careers. If we are wanting to start a business and we've always felt that we have that within us, and I'm going to highlight why you feel you haven't taken action towards that yet. That's going to be an upcoming training, because when I asked all of you to email me, there were over 10 people who the key thing they wanted help with was, they've always felt that they were worth more. And that's a great place to be, because it means you're not settling. It's the reason why you're here. You are worth more and you deserve more, but you're already enough. Can you see how people get those confused? You're already enough, you already have enough, but you're worth more and you can get more as long as you operate from that position. Now, that's amazing that so many people that have had this awareness that, I really want to start my own business, I really want to start to operate at a higher level, I really want to change my career, and I feel like I've had something more inside me my entire life that I've never unlocked. And that simply comes down to fear of what I'm going to go through. You know you deserve more. You know you have so much more within you, but right now you don't know where to start. You don't need to know where to start. All you need to know is that you've had that insight that you're worth more, you deserve more, you want more, and that you're already enough. The other parts in the second training, I'm going to fill those in into how you can start to take action towards it. So, life is a mix of logic and emotion. Many of you may have read that book. I can't remember exactly what it's called. Men are from Mars, Women are from Venus. Part of the theory behind that and why males and females can clash so often is because men operate and solve problems through logic. Women operate and solve problems through emotion. Now, you can't fix an emotional problem with logic, which is why so many men struggle. Likewise, you very often can't fix a logical problem with emotion. Does that make sense? It has to be a mix of those two things. If we're struggling emotionally, we're not going to be able to fix it with logic. If something needs logic, you're not going to be able to fix it when you're emotional. So we need both. Now, the other two things that we need is one, we need to believe that we can achieve it. Now, why again that can sometimes get misconstrued is because you'll have heard me talk about you don't need self-belief. So you might be, Lee, what the fuck are you talking about? You're completely contradicting yourself, which, trust me, is a conversation I have in myself a million times a day. How can you tell people they need to believe they can achieve it to achieve it, yet you tell people they don't need self-belief? I've told the story so many times about me not believing I could win that award, so I wasn't going to show up to the awards, and I'd already won it. I've told the story about Emma Raducanu not believing that she could win a Grand Slam, so her team had already booked the flights home from the quarterfinals because nobody believed she was going to get through that stage. So how can I say you don't need self-belief, but you need to believe you can achieve it? Because the slight difference is there is where I believe people fall down. It's not that they don't believe they can achieve it. You don't need that. What they actually believe is that they can't achieve it. Like they're fully locked down the chance of it being a possibility. That's like a dead end. That's like a brick wall. So you maybe don't need to 100% believe that you can achieve it yet, but you need to believe it's a possibility. And then you need to do the work. You need to believe it's a possibility and then work towards it daily. You need to be open to possibility and work towards it daily. If you're not even open to the thing potentially one day becoming real, guess what? It never will. So we need to focus and nail 4 key areas. And I urge you to write these down. Watch it back and pause it and write them down if you haven't. Number 1, focus. We have to have focus and understand it, which I'm going to heavily come on to. Focus is so easy to see in our private community group sometimes. Someone posts something positive and everybody focuses on that and replies with something positive. It only takes one person to highlight a problem, highlight a pain, highlight a struggle, and everyone else instantly replies and focuses on their struggle that's the same. Like, scroll back, you'll literally see this. It's a real world example, which is why I did that post. I cannot focus on the fact that I need an operation. I cannot focus on the fact that I'm injured. I cannot, the only way I can deal with that is starve it of energy, starve it of attention, and re-switch that focus to what I can control, what I can do, what I am in charge of. So we need focus, number one. We need belief, number two. Number three, we need perspective. How did I get perspective this week? Yes, this thing happening to me now is very not fucking ideal. Yes, I'm upset. Yes, I'm pissed off. Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I've gone through, why has this happened to me? But guess what? You want to get perspective? Share a little thought for that 11-year-old girl who lost her entire family in a car crash this week, locally to us. That's serious. This is an injury that will recover. This is an operation that might take 12 weeks. Can you see how I could gain perspective there? That is horrific, and you cannot even imagine how horrific that is. I can't even find a word to try and explain it. But things like that, you know, me meeting Jason and various other things, these things give you perspective. Alfie gives me perspective. That situation gives me perspective. So you have to have perspective. Whatever's going on, it's not that bad. There's always something worse. And that will help you get out of so many situations. When you're cranking on, as we all do, right? On a daily basis about what's not happening, who's not working for us, who's pissing us off, what's bad in the world, the cost of living, and everything else in between. Well, guess what? As I said on the run when I was starting to feel injured, Lee, crack on, you're not a 3-year-old with leukemia going through chemotherapy. So get perspective. And number 4 is work rate. You can't have focus. You can't have belief. You can't have perspective. You can't have a plan. You can't have mission. You can't have purpose. You can't have all of those things, all the focus in the world, all the belief in the world, all the support in the world, all the learning in the world, all the knowledge in the world, all the qualifications in the world, qualificationitis, and everything in between. We can't have all of these other things. We can't have abundance. We can't have gratitude. We can't have wealth and not do the work. So number 1, write them down, focus. Number 2, belief, write it down. Number 3, perspective, write it down. Number 4, work rate, or in Freeman terms, do the fucking work. So what keeps us from achieving our dreams? Drop in the comments if you know. What's the number 1 thing that keeps you from achieving your dreams? What keeps you from achieving your dreams is the opposite to number 1. So number 1 is focus. What's the opposite to focus? Distraction. Distraction is the secret killer. Yes, Stacey as well. Fear, 100%. Fear leads to distraction and vice versa. The number 1 killer in achieving our goals is distraction. You didn't lose motivation. You didn't need motivation. You just got distracted. Distracted by the weekend out. Distracted by Christmas. Distracted by the cost of living. Distracted by whatever adversity you're following in your life. Distracted by how your friends are doing better than you. Distracted by what went wrong. Distracted by the results you're not achieving. Distraction, distraction, distraction. And distraction leads to inaction. So then we start to say, oh, I just don't feel motivated at the minute. I don't have motivation. I don't have inspiration. You don't have any of those things because you lost focus. You had focus and you were moving towards it, and then you got distracted. And distraction is the number 1 killer for stopping you from achieving your dreams. People who you see doing better than you and feel are better than you and have achieved more and are winning and seem to have it easy, and you probably think they're cleverer and taller and have more hair and they're better looking and they're more intelligent and they're more confident and they have more support and they have more money and they have more love and they have more significance and they have more validation. They have more success, they have more wealth, they have a better physique. They don't have anything more than you. They're just more focused and they work harder. You're more distracted and you work less. So how does focus work? How can we nail it? So this is exactly what happens, and there's going to be lots of pointing here. I'll try and draw some random, I've got my random imaginary whiteboard in front of me. Sorry, multi-purpose board. You can't say that anymore, can you? So day one, you have a 90-day goal. You have a fucking mission. You have purpose. You've bought the new leggings. You've got the new gym shoes. You've downloaded MyFitnessPal. You've bought your food. You've gone and done your big shop. You've told all your friends that what you're going to do. You have all of these things. Might be losing 2 stone. It might be doubling your income. It might be starting a business. It might be quitting drinking. So what holds you back? What holds so many people back from achieving that 90-day goal? And this is just a 90-day goal, not a 6 months, 12 month, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, just 90 days. Well, we are here, right? Just by Henry. And the 90-day goal is over here, just by Lee's ear. And we start this journey towards the goal. And we're in that stage of what's called uninformed optimism. Motivation is high, focus is high, drive is high, energy is high. This is it. I'm going to build the business. I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to get the girl. I'm going to get the house. I'm going to get all these things that I've always wanted. I'm fired up. I'm focused. I'm ready to go. And then challenge pops up. Our good old friend challenge. See, our brain thought that all we had to do was have this place here, get the plan, have this place here, and we were just going to go. It was going to be a pain-free straight line to success. And then we get injured. I have a PhD in getting injured now. It's been awarded to me last week. We get ill. We go on holiday. We have a weekend away. Christmas, birthdays, anniversaries, stag parties, hen parties. And then we have a problem with the fucking car. And then we have a problem with the house. And then the fucking gas bills go up. And then we lose a job. Then we start a job. Then a relationship begins. Then a relationship ends. Then the kids get ill. Then the husband gets ill. Then the wife gets ill. And we have an emotional problem we need to handle. We're not getting on with the partner. We're arguing. Then we have a financial problem we need to handle because we've not handled on our finances. And all these things pop up. Guess what? 2 words. That's life. It has never ever been a straight line to success. And it never ever will be. If anyone can find me a solution to all of those things I've not just mentioned popping up in life at some point, then please tell me what it is. Because we'll all go in on it together, we'll patent it and we'll sell it. Because what we're looking for is a stress-free, challenge-free, adversity-free, financial problem-free, child problem-free, partner problem-free, emotional problem-free life. Being really honest, it's quite hard to have one day without any of them. So when challenge pops up, this is where your focus goes. So I had this place near Henry, and then I had this place here that I wanted to go, and I started moving towards it, and then challenge. And all my focus is on all my challenges. And my North Star, or my dream goal, or my dream outcome, or getting the job, or building the body or building the business or doing all the things that I know I have within me that I truly want, you literally forget about them because you lost focus. And then you say, oh, I just don't feel motivated at the minute. I don't feel inspired. Nothing ever works out for me. You start running the same old behavior patterns you've run your whole life. It's easier for other people. But the reality is you forgot about your goal and you lost focus on what you were working towards. That's why I send you that big fucking black thing called a planner that has a reminder in it every day to remind you what your goal is, to remind you what today's most important task is, to remind you to do your steps, to remind you to hydrate, to remind you to be grateful, to remind you to highlight who needs me to show up for them today and why. Because if not, what happens? We forget. We forget about the dream. We forget about what we want. We forget about why we were doing it. Because we get lost in life's challenges. And because we got so lost in life's challenges and we started focusing on all our problems rather than focusing on our dreams, we forget about it. And before you know it, another year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 has passed. Whilst all we've been doing is dealing with life, dealing with challenge, dealing with other people, dealing with problems, finding problems. I'm going to find some more problems because it stops me doing the work that I need to do on my goal that I've forgotten about because I got lost in life. And we end up going absolutely fucking nowhere. Lost in life, dealing with challenge, lost in life. I'm not good enough, lost in life. Nothing ever works out for me. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, what was that thing 3 weeks ago that I said I wanted to achieve and I wrote down? And I gave money to that person to help me achieve it. And they sent me a plan that's still on my desktop and I'm not opened because I got lost in life. Dealing with challenge. You're all laughing because you all do it. Why am I laughing? Because I do it every fucking day, every fucking week. You see this in people, right? And I'm not calling out people in their 60s and 70s. Trust me, I grew up with my grandparents. I love them more than anything in the world. And I have respect for my elders. So this is what we're going to come on to. This is a situational thing, not a person or an age thing. But what do most grandparents and parents that are in their 60s and 70s, 95% of them are negative as fuck, by the way, angry at life, bitter. What do they say to people that are striving to achieve more, that are willing to take risks? By the way, some parents are saying this to their kids from the age of 7. You should be happy with what you've got. Why are you doing all this? It will never work out. You'll never achieve that. You'll never amount to anything. Listen to me. Listen to me, right? I'm older than you and I'm wiser than you. You need to give up on these business dreams and just get a job. Listen to me. I'm older than you and wiser than you. Good things don't happen to people like us. All rich people are evil. You'll never get a girl like that. We'll never live anywhere like that. Things like that don't happen to people like us. And they advise you to stay as you are and not take risks. Hands up if you've had a whole life of people telling you to be careful. Just be careful, won't you? I want to do this thing, I'm really excited about it. Yeah, but just be careful. Just be careful. You know, what if it goes wrong? What if you don't succeed? What if you get mocked, judged or laughed at? Now let's just stay as we are because it's easier. So you give up on your dreams. Other people force you to give up on your dreams. Like, it's what Arnie calls the naysayers. Ignore the naysayers. And he's fucking right. He's who he is for a reason, right? He's got some knowledge bombs. He's got the best body in the world. He's been a governor. He's a multi-millionaire. He's an award-winning actor. He's probably one of the most successful, empowered, driven, focused people in the world. Guess what? Focused. And he ignored the naysayers. Now, these aren't bad people. These people in your life telling you not to take risks, they're not bad people. They're doing it because they love you. They're doing it because they want to keep you safe. But this is the reality. Do you know the reason why they do it? Because once upon a time, a very long time ago, they had a dream too. And then challenge came up. And then you were born. And then they got lost in life. And then they settled into the job. And then they had 2 more kids. And then they started hanging around with people that told them that good things never happen to people like us. Everyone in our family's always been big. All rich people are evil. And those conditioned behavioural patterns go on and on and on and on. Now, I can't take away any of your current challenges, just like you can't take away mine. And in fact, I definitely can't take away your future challenges. But I think that horrific accident that's happened this week should make many people realise that life can change in a heartbeat. So all the stuff that you think's important isn't. Just do it. Just go for it. That could literally happen to any single one of us tomorrow. We could be driving along the road in a car and another car or a motorbike comes down the opposite lane, bang, life's gone. Perspective. Now, whilst I can't take them away, and you can't take them away from me, I can't take away your past challenges and I can't take away your future challenges. But what I can tell you is that you can be grateful in advance for future challenge. Because that's how we grow. Now, what I do want to do today is give you back 2 things. 1, Henry, and 2, my Elite X-Man of the Year award. No, I'm not giving either of them to anyone, Jan, don't worry. So what I can give you is, I can't take away challenge, but I can give you focus and I can give you belief. Because we have to focus on the dream daily. That's why there's a training called Designing Your Dream Life. That's why there's a section in the planner to write it down. Because if we stop focusing on the dream daily, we'll get caught up in problems. If we stop focusing on the mission, we'll get lost in life. And we'll keep taking, drop me a yes or put your hand up or comment yes on YouTube or wherever this video is going to go afterwards. If you feel like life often feels like treading through mud, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. 1 step forwards, 2 steps back. 1 step, oh, fuck it, what's the point? I'm just going to settle for what I've got. I'm just going to listen to my mum and dad. I'm just going to listen to my husband or wife. I'm just going to listen to my fucking negative friends. And you get exhausted. Oh my God, I've said this so many times. Like I want to punch myself in the head when I say it. Just feel like I'm not getting anywhere. I just feel like I give 100% and all I ever do is go 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 1 step forwards, 2 steps back. That's the difference between a good week and a bad week. So then what happens is when we do keep going 1 step forward, 2 steps back, when we keep getting started and then we quit, and then we get started and then we quit because we lost motivation. No, we didn't. We lost focus and we got distracted. What happens is we just get that exhausted and that frustrated and that down on ourselves because we started focusing on the progress, forgot about the North Star, forgot about the dream, and we end up quitting for a while because it chips away at your energy, right? Forwards, backwards, chips away at your energy. It chips away at your confidence. It chips away at your self-worth. And you start saying things like, God, am I ever really going to get there? Is this really possible? What's the phrase I love? Am I just flogging a dead horse? Yeah, I'm just getting, it's basically, it's getting too tough. It's getting too tough. So you lose focus because you got distracted by life and challenge. You lose belief because you got distracted by life and challenge. And you forget about the thing that you actually wanted, why you want it, and what you need to do to keep moving towards it. And this is when self-doubt creeps in. This is when fear creeps in. This is when all the old patterns we've run our entire life because people put them into us and it wasn't our fault start to crop up. We start to believe we're not good enough, we're not strong enough, we're not clever enough. Good things don't happen to people like us. Now this, when it comes down to situations, this is called situational fear. Probably a phrase you might not have heard before. You'll have heard fear, but has anyone ever heard of two different types of fear? Situational fear and conditioned fear. Two very different things. So situational fear is when you start to focus on all the problems. You start to focus on all the challenge. You start to get reactive. You start to blame, complain, and justify. You blame other people, situation, and circumstance for your past and your past for the reason why you're not where you want to be. You sing things that I've said my whole life, like, I'm trying so hard, but nothing ever works out for me. I keep taking one step forwards, two steps back. You focus on everything you don't have. The opposite of gratitude. You focus on scarcity. You focus on lacking. You focus on not having enough. You focus on what you're not good at. You focus on past failures. And you feel like you're not good enough. You don't have enough. You'll never be enough. You'll never achieve what you want. And the actual situation you're in is terrifying you. Do you want the honest pattern that I run sometimes, which is situational fear? Sometimes I think I'm going to end up tired, exhausted, skin, alone, fat, broke, and just live my life out. My brain will still default to that sometimes. When I can get back into that place, when I've lost focus, when I've forgotten about the North Star, when I've forgotten about the plan, when I've forgotten about my mission, when I've forgotten about who needs to show up for me and why. That's situational fear. And when you've gone into that place of situational fear, so all the situations and circumstances around you are crippling you, you can't operate, right? You can't operate in life from a place of situational fear, from no focus, from no self-belief, from not feeling that you're good enough. Because what happens is, when we're suffering situational fear, so fear about our life, fear about our situation, fear about where we are and what possibly might happen if we don't take control, we go into 4 different places. And I never knew about the 4th one until I did this training. And the 4th one's something that I've done my entire life since I was about 6 years old. How mental is that? That's why life's always a lesson. That's why every day is a school day. So we can go, when we experience situational fear, okay, we can go into fight mode. Fight mode's where we need to be. I will not let this get me down. I will not let this defeat me. I'm in fight mode right now, and I need to stay there, because fight mode leads to success. Fight mode is, I will not let that person do that to me. I will not let losing this job destroy my life. I will not let my life become a story of my failures. I will not let this person hold me back. I'm going to fight because I'm worth more, I deserve more, I'm going to get more. I've got focus and I've got belief. And if we don't go into fight mode, we go into flight mode. That's nothing to do with your mobile phone. So flight mode is you run away. You quit. You leave the plan. You leave the peer group. You procrastinate. You hide. You talk shit about other people. You talk shit about how it's different for you. Not a good place to be. The third one is freeze mode. And I've experienced this. Anyone who's had real anxiety will definitely understand this. It's a connection between the body and the mind. Freeze mode is complete panic, complete stress, total fear, that sick feeling in your stomach when you can't speak, you can't talk, you can't sleep. You're literally paralyzed by what's happened. Then we have fawn mode. Has anyone else ever heard of fawn mode? F-A-W-N. Fawn mode is a people-pleasing behavior when you appease bullies, you appease narcissists, you appease people who manipulate you in order to avoid conflict. So this thing happens that this situational fear happens, right? And I can fight. Good plan. I can fly, run away. Not a good plan. I can freeze, probably unavoidable if that happens. Or I can fawn. I can forget about my dreams, I can forget about my goals, and all this conflict and this situation's happened in, and I'm going to forget who I am, what I want, and my dreams, and I'm just going to go back to my people-pleasing behaviour because I'd rather do that than stand up and have the conflict and have the fight. Now here's the big one. You might listen to that and think I need to be a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. You don't. You're always going to be all four. It's impossible not to be. All four of them are real, all four of them are valid, and all four of them are going to show up throughout our lives. But when you've fallen into this situational fear that will initially be hit by one of those responses to fear, this is the world-class tip before we come on to conditioned fear, if I have time. Stop waffling. So what do you do to get it back? So I've fallen into this position, Lee. I've fallen into all the things you've been talking about today. I've lost focus. I've started negatively talking about myself and other people. I'm not doing the work. I'm procrastinating. I have days when I feel frozen. I have days when I run away and procrastinate. I have days when I fight. I have days when I just fall in line with other people because I can't be asked with the conflict. I've got into this horrible place where I'm lost in life, lost in challenge. The way to break through this, I've actually said it before, but it's a new thing to this training. It's called the cut through technique. So you have to cut through the bullshit. You have to cut through the situation. And we're going to do a little task now for this to be real. So think of a situation right now, right this second, that's making you feel afraid. If you don't have one, you're not human, and you're certainly not courageous, because you know this. You can't have courage without fear. You can't have love without hate. So think of that situation. Part of the meditation for Saturdays as well, guys. Breathe in love. Breathe out hate. Breathe in courage. Breathe out fear. That's all you're getting. Not giving you any more. Told you I can't hold the water. That's nothing to do with this part of the training. So now you've got that situation, right? Just a little teaser. If you're thinking about not coming. A little bit of FOMO. So think about that situation, right? Financial struggle. Cost of living. weight gain, health battles, injuries, ending a relationship or friendship, starting a relationship or friendship. Anything. It's all completely relative to you. Your current situational fear. Now, cardboard cut yourself out of that situation and remove yourself to over here. Step out of your shoes. Step out of that situation and look at yourself like you're looking at your best friend. Look at yourself like I look at you. Look at me like you look at, me. Step out of your body, step out of your mind. Imagine it's not happening to you. So right now, this injury isn't mine. It doesn't exist. It's Ali's. Sorry, Ali. What would Lee say to Ali? What would Lee advise Ali? You see how different it is. What would Jan advise me? What would Stephen advise me? What would I advise Jan? What would I advise Stephen? Because when you remove the emotion and the panic and the stress and the situational fear and the anxiety, because you've stepped out of it and you've got perspective, then you can calmly think, what advice would I give myself in this situation? What advice did I give Jan that helped empower and facilitate her to handle cancer? What help and advice did I give Jason that helped facilitate and empower his healing? What did I advise myself on the 170th mile when I managed to step out of my own body and remove emotion? Removed myself from the situation. What would you tell Lee? What would you tell your client? I'd tell them to crack on. They're not a 3-year-old with leukemia. I'd tell them that everything's going to be okay. I'd tell them that this is just a rumble strip. This is just another challenge. This is just another building block in the warrior that is you. I wouldn't fill them with more fear. I wouldn't tell them to sit and panic and worry in a room. So now when you're going through that process yourself, think about the advice that you'd give your best friend. Think about the advice that you'd give me. Think about the advice that you'd give your kids. Because you've removed the emotion, you've got perspective. Now I'm guessing that advice would be logical, like Carl says, data-based, rational, empathetic, well thought out, compassionate, knowledgeable, sensible. You'll be fine. The advice that Lorraine didn't even tell me she had an interview. She just told me that she had something big coming up that she was panicked about. And the advice I gave her was, I don't know what it is, but I already know you're going to handle it, and I already going to know you're going to win because you're good enough and I believe in you. That was 3 days before she put that post. That's us on email, 3 days before she had the interview and put the post in Facebook. I didn't even know what the thing was. Just as a rational person, I didn't feel her stress. I didn't feel her anxiety. I didn't feel her worry. So I gave her logical, data-based, empowered, compassionate, sensible, logical, rational advice. And when you can do that to yourself, that's how you handle situational fear. By taking your own advice. Do you know how many times, like, I've even been having the lesson, but not realised? Not just that, but multiple clients, those of you who know me well enough that I've had little meltdowns and moans to you in the past, some of my close friends, fuck me, Lee. If you could take your own advice, you'd be unstoppable. And even one of my therapists highlighted that. You're incredible at helping other people, but you can't help yourself. Because I've never been able to remove the emotion and think logically. And that's how you deal with it. Applying your own advice to yourself, but you have to step out in order to do it. You have to get perspective. You have to calm the emotions. You have to get rational, or you'll just make emotional decisions. Like I said, you can't apply logic when you're emotional. When you're emotional, it's very difficult to think logically. So we deal with situational fear by being able to take our own advice. But in order to do that, we have to step out of the situation. Now, very quickly, before I run on too long. So the second fear, so that's situational fear. So we know how to handle that now by stepping out and giving ourselves our own advice, being our own cheerleader, being rational, being our own best friend. So conditioned fear, this is the different one for me. So conditioned fear is not your fault. Conditioned fear is what you've been conditioned to believe and accept your entire life. What you've been conditioned to accept and believe about yourself, usually from your parents, your teachers, your friends, your ex-wives and your ex-husbands or partners or unicorns or dogs. Always that you are not good enough. I'm exaggerating, but I've done a million, sorry fellas, this is quite targeted at men, but true. And it does happen the other way around as well. It happened to me the other way around. I'll sit and listen to a female in a therapy session for the first 15 minutes and just allow them to offload. And I already know everything. This is ADHD in a nutshell. And I have to really force myself to zip my tongue. Because they'll have been talking for 90 seconds and I know exactly what the problem is and I know exactly how to fix it. But I need to give them that platform to keep talking about it and try and shut my big mouth. And I'll say, have you had a man in your life that's made you feel like you're not good enough? Maybe your dad, maybe your ex-husband, maybe a teacher or uncle or family member. And the normal response is they'll burst into tears. Because that's the conditioned fear they've been holding on to their entire life. Now, very often, doesn't even come from a narcissistic, manipulative place. It might come from dad just wants you to do well at school. So you've got this conditioned fear of I must do well in my exams, if not my dad doesn't love me. So it's not always a high-end narcissistic thing, but it's almost always that we're not, conditioned fear is we're not good enough, we're not tall enough, we're not clever enough, we're not good looking enough. Am I right? So if you believe that, if you've been conditioned to believe that for 30 plus fucking years, it's hardly mind-breaking that you find it hard to believe in yourself, is it? That's why we find it so tough. That's why we don't back ourselves. That's why we forget about the North Star and get lost in life. Because conditioned fear is basically the thing that you think and believe that you are not. The thing that you think and believe you can't achieve. The self-limiting belief that holds you back. The self-limiting belief that leads you to believe that you can never lead the life you want because it's different for you. And also, here's the flip side. When we look into comparison is the thief of all joy, comparison is the thief of all happiness. Yes, I'm going off on a tangent. Is not only is it the thing that you feel like you don't have, that you've been conditioned to believe that you're not and you can't have by other people, which isn't your fault because it's subconscious, it's human behavior, it's been programmed for years. It's also the thing that you believe that other people don't have, do have, which is why they're successful and you're not. He's more successful than me because. She's more successful than me because. He's going faster towards his goal than me because. It's the same thing. I've been told I don't have this thing and I'll never be good enough. That person clearly does have that thing in abundance. And that's why they're achieving and I'm not. It's what you've been programmed to believe about yourself. Like literally, I ended up lucky and this is why I can be grateful. Because from 5 to 12 years old, word for word, and I can still hear the voice now, a certain human told me 2 things. You will never amount to anything. The second thing was one day your mouth is going to get you in trouble. I mean, I guess you were kind of right on the second one. But what's the actual meaning behind that? One day your mouth's going to get you in trouble. Essentially, stay quiet, don't have an opinion, don't be you. You'll never amount to anything. And this was when I was very young. I was in the garden starting to do press-ups and starting to learn karate moves off the Karate Kid and like wanting more and constantly asking for things, wanting to be better at football, wanting to be better at rugby, wanting to be better at cricket. Oh, you'll never amount to anything, you. Stop trying and be quiet because one day your mouth's going to get you into trouble. And then from 13 to 33, slightly different human conditioning me. Boy, you can achieve anything you want if you put your mind to it. Same circumstance, same situation, same conditioning. One person is conditioning you in one way and another person is conditioning you in another way. So your conditioned fear is the things that you think you are not and you can't have based on what other people or society has led you to believe. Now guess what? You can change that because I'm here telling you the opposite. I'm here telling you that you are good enough, that you are strong enough, that you are clever enough, that you also can achieve anything that you want. If, pen drop, you're willing to do the work. If you stop losing focus on the dream, if you stop getting distracted, if you stop losing sight of the North Star because you get lost in life, if you stop listening to the naysayers and just get back to focusing on you, your life, what you want, and understanding you are good enough, being grateful for everything you have and operating from abundance, not scarcity. Because even in society, tangent time, you're being conditioned by people trying to sell you stuff all over the shop. Now you're aware of this, and I'm going to do a very different training on, I'm not even going to get into this now, but the difference between seeing yellow and seeing purple. If that doesn't inspire you to turn up for Monday's training, I don't know what will. We're going to spend a whole session looking at a yellow piece of paper and a purple piece of paper. No, we're not. So you're being conditioned by people on the internet of what you need to do to make money, what you need to do to live a better life, what you need to do to lose weight, what you don't need to do to lose weight, who you should be paying, who you shouldn't be paying. Light drop moment, Jan, only a few weeks ago before we both removed ourselves from the situation. People, coaches, adverts, all over the world. Fuck me, 15-year-old girls now think they need fucking silicone breasts to be good enough. Everyone thinks they need veneered white teeth to be good enough. Every business owner thinks they need a new funnel, an AI bot. There'll always be something new. You need this thing to be successful, Stephen. And I'm going to keep conditioning you to that. And I'm going to keep showing you this advert. And I'm going to keep showing you this plan. I'm going to keep showing you this thing that you need to be okay, that you need to be happy. That's going to solve all your problems. And guess what? It's not just conditioning you to think that you need the thing that you need. This is a really bad example, but I'm going to roll with it. It's conditioning you with the fear of what will happen if you don't invest in the thing, i.e. buy from them. Invest in me, get fake tits. When you're 17, every man's going to find you irresistible and you'll live happily ever after. Don't invest in me. Don't get your tits done. Don't get your teeth done. Don't tan every day. Don't do everything that people on Towie do. And no one's ever going to love you and you're not going to feel like you're good enough because you're going to compare yourself to all the other girls that have had their tits and their teeth done. It's a tits and teeth kind of morning. A bit like a horse riding lesson. That's what my horse riding instructor used to say to me. Tits and teeth, Lee. Tits and teeth. It's basically an analogy to sit tall. But you get the example, right? You need the fat loss plan. You need the boobs. You need the teeth. You need the funnel. You need the website. You need the AI bot. You need the business. You need all of these things that people are selling. And then they go, and if you don't get all these things, i.e. give me money to get them, this is what's going to happen. You're going to end up fat, lonely, and on your own forever. Sign up to my stop drinking course, or you're going to be an alcoholic forever. Sign up for my fat loss course, or you're going to be fat forever. Get a website from me, or you're never going to make any money. They're conditioning. We're being conditioned every time we look online. Conditioned to think we need something. Conditioned to think we have to be a certain way to be attractive and loved. People are conditioning us everywhere to buy from them. Why? We've lost focus. We've got distracted. Rather than focusing on our life, our dreams, our goal, the thing we've already created and we've already got the plan to do, we've got distracted. So how do you reverse condition? So I'm experiencing situational fear and I now know how to handle that. I know the 4 responses. I know I'm gonna go through all of them at some point, and I know that I handle them by stepping out of myself and giving rational advice and talking to myself as I would my best friend with empathy. So we've handled that one. But how do we change this? How do we change this? Fuck me, I've been conditioned my entire life to realize that I'm not good enough and that I'll never amount to anything. We reverse condition by practicing the opposite. This isn't a 7-day fix, guys. The overall word that's used these days, it's actually a great word when you think about it. Mindfulness. So my mind is full. So how would we discuss mindfulness? Practicing self-love. Practicing self-belief. Controlling what you say to yourself. Controlling your environment. Controlling what you look at online. Controlling what emails you're subscribed to. Controlling who you're friends with on Facebook and in real life. How have we got to a place in society where we even say that? Controlling who you're talking to online and in real life. Going back and doing the identity training. Creating your new identity. I am a strong, focused, empowered leader and father who impacts and inspires people on a global level to live a healthier, happier life. Why do you think I can remember that from the training, however many months ago, on creating a new identity? because I write it down and memorize it every day, because it stops me getting distracted, because it keeps me focused on my North Star, because it stops me getting lost in life. It reminds me of who I am, what I want, and why. So we have to work on this daily, guys. You've got to think of this, right? If you want to love yourself and believe you're good enough, but if you've been conditioned for the last 20 years that you're the opposite, you ain't going to watch one of my mindset videos, complete a planner for one day and be fixed and be a self-love guru. You have to work on it daily until you've conditioned yourself to be the opposite of what you currently believe. Conditioned yourself to believe you're good enough. Conditioned yourself to believe you can achieve anything that you want. Self-belief, self-worth, self-love, confidence are all conditioned, and they have to be worked on daily, because if they're not focused and worked on daily, then you will continue to doubt yourself. Self-love conditioning stops you doubting yourself. Self-belief condition isn't the key to success, but it stops you doubting yourself. And it starts you taking action. It allows you to regain focus. It lets you believe you're good enough, that you are loved, that you can achieve anything that you want, and that if you put your mind to it, anything is possible if you're willing to do the work. Squad, Finley, I love you all, and I'll see you on Saturday when I'm in my blonde wig and my budgie smugglers. I love you all.